Okay, am I live? I'm live. Welcome back to the Canon Jobs New Game Plus playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV, featuring your hero and mine, Captain Siege Zabak of the Maelstrom. I am Desert Leviathan. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the present premise, tuning in for the first time, what I'm doing is I am replaying the main story quests and certain specifically curated side content for hit MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, using the jobs and classes featured in the promotional material for each segment of content. So when they release the trailer for a given section of content, the generic protagonist who's in that trailer will obviously be using one of the classes from the game. There are one, or in one case two, classes corresponding to each expansion, and two classes corresponding to the original launch version of the game. So I have completed the portion of the game where the generic hero was an archer, and now I am a warrior. This is part 6 in our previous stream. Let's see what all went on last time. So a couple of weeks ago, I killed the primal Ifrit on behalf of the immortal flames of the city-state of Ul'dah, and that got enough attention that all the city-states decided that they were going to try to court me to be part of their military auxiliary organizations. I decided to join the Maelstrom of Limsa Lominsa, because that is the pirate city that my character actually lives in. And because Limsa Lominsa has problems that seem solvable. All three city-states are kind of bust, but, you know, dealing with the fact that this I don't know, that Limsa is kind of treaty breaking and expansionist. I feel like it's more doable to reform the Thalassy than it is to, say, rein in the elementals of Gridania and stop them from rampaging every time somebody of a different ethnicity tries to move into their forest, or, you know, completely overthrow capitalism in the desert city of Ul'dah. Anyway, last time, having completed my initial membership application into the Maelstrom, I was then recruited by the government of Limsa Lominsa to investigate. Oops, sorry. Video will be back up in a second. To investigate the manifestation of the god Titan, who had been summoned by the kobolds. The kobolds have a very reasonable complaint against Limsa. They had a treaty that they would control the inland of the island of Vilbrand, and Limsa Lominsa would have their city on the coast. Ahoy and good morning to my good friend Cha. That Limsa Lominsa would control the coastland and the kobolds would control the interior of the island of Vilbrand, but pretty much immediately, settlers from Limsa Lominsa started staking out farmland further into the island and pushing the kobolds further and further north, until now the kobolds control just a tiny sliver of land, and are understandably upset about that. So, you know, we are kind of the bad guys in this scenario, but my character doesn't know that yet. In order to get out, I have to work with an organization called the Company of Heroes. They're a mercenary band. The last time Titan was summoned, the Company of Heroes were the people who dealt with him. They lost a lot of good men. They became kind of gun-shy about fighting again. They also fought the Sahagan's primal Leviathan at the same time, which is fairly hardcore. I'm genuinely impressed. The survivors must be some pretty tough dudes. Here's the problem, though. Titan is basically a WMD. Titan, if he rampages free, he will kill basically everyone, except for the people that he enslaves. Entering the presence of a primal is a tremendous risk, because they can just reach into a person's brain and make them fanatically loyal. Like, once you are exposed to a primal, at this point in the story, there is no recourse but to kill you. My character possesses a supernatural ability called the Echo, which makes him immune to this. So he is one of the very few people who can face a primal directly in combat and not be at risk of having his free will stripped away. The Company of Heroes knows this, because I've previously fought the primal Ifrit. The Company of Heroes refuses to tell me how to get to Titan, and refuses to go and face Titan themselves, and refuses to pass along the information of how to get to Titan to any third party. So basically, they're just being a big-ass stalemate. They're like, yes, we know the kobolds have a nuke aimed at a major population center that they intend to fire any minute now, but we're not going to let you stop it, because we're afraid you might die. Like, it's war, my dudes. People are going to die. If I go out there and I don't succeed, then the Maelstrom is going to send another guy, and another guy, and another guy, until somebody either pulls it off, or until there's a massive catastrophic loss of life. But the correct decision here isn't to just say, no, we're gonna stalemate to deal with this problem. So, anyway, on behalf of the Company of Heroes, I have been going around getting their fucking groceries, ostensibly as a test of my worthiness, to prove that I am a bad enough dude to fight Titan. I hate the Company of Heroes. I hate this section of the story so much. I want to just bludgeon these guys to death and leave their crumpled bodies impaled on pikes as a warning to others. But, I'm a hero. My character is a good guy, so he's gonna not do that. While I, the player, will grit my teeth and concoct grisly revenge fantasies against Weiskate and his cronies. So for the next step, like I said, I've literally been getting their grocery list. I've been getting from rare endangered adamantoids, tortoises, and cuts of meat from weird desert worms and other crap for these guys. And now they want me to go get some very fancy cheese from a goblin. Truth be told, I never intended to collect this last ingredient. Brayflox, my old quartermaster, wished to bring it to Costa del Sol herself. However, not long ago she sent word there's been some trouble at the Long Stop, and that the delivery would be delayed indefinitely. She told me nothing of the incident itself, but I fear the situation may be dire. Though I'd like nothing more than to aid her myself, I have no choice but to turn to you and your allies. Make haste to Hidden Falls Dock and speak with Ozun Nazan. He'll direct you to the Raincatcher Gully, where Brayflox and her people have made their home. Thanks, Weiskit. I'm super enthusiastic to get your very important cheese. Oh, yeah, I was using the random mount roulette to show off. Hey, it's my Namazu mount. I have befriended a tribe of tiny, ridiculous catfish people, and they are so grateful that they carry me around on their traveling catfish people shrine. Yep. Yeah, I knew you'd dig this. The Namazu are a bunch of little goobers, but they're silly enough that I don't hold a grudge. They make you run around and do a lot of silly quests for them. But they're alright. I employ a bunch of them in the Chowder Sluice. What's the hurry, Venturer? Huh? Something happened over at the Gabi settlement? I don't know why you're so eager to help a bunch of beastmen, but go and talk to the skipper over yonder. She'll ferry you to Raincatcher Gully. Yeah, well, you're a racist piece of shit, and I hope you die. So, we're going to Raincatcher Gully, whatever that guy said. I gotta get back into the mindset of not just skipping dialogue. Alright, what do we summon this time? Oh, the Majestic Phoenix. Or a Phoenix. Or, no, it has some kind of different name because there are too many other different Phoenixes. Is that guy fishing? I don't know. The rules for this playthrough is that I do not fly or teleport to a place until I have been there at least once before. I'm trying to show the scenic route. Alright, Brayflox, I don't actively hate you, unlike the rest of the company of heroes, because you were going to bring your cheese yourself. Tongue claps of Weisscade be reaching ears of Brayflox. Uplander has come for tasty fresh Gabi treats, yes? Quest prize of Uplander deep in Longstop. Flighty beast chased Gabi flock from homes. Goodly Uplander gives safety to Longstop with much hand-lending. AKA, my house is besieged by a dragon. Go in there and get the cheese your own damn self. I think I shall. Just a sec, I'm going to untangle my headset. Okay, there we go. Into Brayflox's Longstop. Yeah, unlike the rest of the company of heroes, Brayflox has a legitimate reason to be asking for my help. The rest of them are just bums. But yeah, I wouldn't go in there and get that cheese either. Also, this isn't really about the cheese. This is about the nice goblin lady has her house being invaded. So, you know. Alright. I have my buttons set differently on my laptop than I do on my PlayStation, but I'm just going to deal. Oh. I only have the one AoE. And I don't have the damage booster combo. Oh well. As a warrior, my job is to tank. So I get in the enemy's face, and I make sure that they are more mad at me than they are mad at my companions. Which is pretty easy to do because every single one of my attacks, secondary ability, properties that make them just piss off enemies super badly. Gobby flock in danger. Uplanders take gate key. Open head gate. Thank you, friendly goblin. Under different circumstances, I would have attacked you for your precious loot. I apologize for that. The tank has two responsibilities. One is holding aggro, and the second is mitigating damage. The fact is, the healer doesn't actually want to be healing all the time. The healer would be better off dealing damage. More damage, even if they're not dealing as much as the actual DPS jobs. If they're able to deal damage, that's still speeding things up. I try to make sure that not only am I keeping the enemy's point, I'm doing things like using the rampart there, which gives me a few seconds of distance. Try to minimize how much damage enemies are dealing to, so that the healer doesn't have to invest that much. And then I want to deal my own good damage, because I'm also helping as DP. So I use skills like Berserk just now to make myself have nothing but critical hits for the next few strikes. Anyway, these old dungeons aren't like super full of compelling gameplay. But I guess the boss of this one has some tricks. Just avoid the ground markers and gather up the ads. All these little extra dudes, my job is to make sure that they don't attack anybody but me, which I have done successfully. And if they all cast poison on me, that's fine. Again. Warrior used to have really great damage. I guess after the last patch, it's the lowest damage of the 4 tanks. But it feels high damage just because the individual strikes are big. Warrior isn't like a hit him a bunch of times. It's a hit him a few times and do big numbers kind of job. As the tank, I set the pace for the dungeon, so I decide how many enemies we pull before we stop to fight them, that kind of thing. If these were player character support, like if these were actual people instead of NPCs backing me up, then I would probably get more monsters, because I could trust the healer to have their crap together. But these NPC healers are some less than fabulous. So I won't overwhelm them too much. Another duty of the tank, holding the monsters still. So you can see that Scion Lancer there. Some of his attacks will be will have positional components, meaning they do more damage either from the rear of the enemy or from. Make that easy for my teammates. So, oh, actually, I'm doing all the side crap. This goblin is under attack. So anyway, I want to hold monsters still so that it's easy for melee DPS characters to do positionals. I also want to hold monsters still because a lot of them will have attacks that do AoE damage, some of which will have ground markers, some of which won't. A lot of which will be cones or lines pointed towards whoever they're aggro to. So I want to point those away from everybody else. What's up, Dave? Uplander, save Gobbyflock! Huzzah! Zaza! Are there goblins up here? I can't remember. There are. Under attack by tiny dragons. Give me some treasure, goblin. Uplander saves Gobbyflock! Huzzah! Saha! Since I'm a level 90 character, when I'm not leveled down for an instance, my actual equipment is a billion times better than anything these goblins are going to give me, but I want to show the whole dungeon, not just the fastest path. Uh-oh, these ones already killed their goblin, so I don't get a treasure chest. No, that's my bad. Sorry, goblin friend. I have failed you. The oft-overlooked reprisal ability lowers enemy damage. So it's just as good as boosting my defense. I'm just crapping all over their offense. Basically, you know, I've got a few different tools in the kit at this level for mitigating damage, and the trick is to not use them all at once. So that you can kind of space them out, because they all last maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds. Berserk! There we go. And Brayflox shows up with another little lizard. And my teammates, I think, understand targeting priority well enough to focus on that little lizard. Which is good because it will shortly start ignoring my aggro and attack Brayflox again, and if Brayflox dies, it's game over. On the other hand, if we save Brayflox, she comes up and throws bombs. Oops. Accidentally turned off my tank stance, so I was trying to do something else. Alright, thanks, Brayflox. You're a classy lady. Alright, this. So, dungeon design in later dungeons gets a lot more standardized. This is a place where a player can get in trouble because there's a lot of critters in this this part of the zone. And it's easy for an inexperienced tank to pull way too many of them, overwhelm the healers, and have a party wipe. Oh, piss off with this. Excuse me, big weird parrot. And inexplicably hovering Fitch. That AoE with that eyeball marker, I could have technically dodged that by just turning my back, but still standing in the AoE marker. But, screw that. But the eyeball specifically, don't look at me! Ignore me! Alright, we have successfully not aggro to everything out here, but I think there's a couple of treasure chests off to the side. There might even be more goblin friends. Nope. Oh, I thought there was stuff in here. Oh well. Yeah, the design of later dungeons becomes very linear. It becomes just basically, you know, 3 boss fights and then 3 fairly straight paths between those boss fights, with typically 4 per path. So you fight 12 trash packs of enemies on the way to those 3 bosses. And most teams will pull 2 of those trash packs at a time, often gated physically by the dungeon. And I don't know, sometimes I miss the weird old designs where these dungeons were actually like places to explore with secrets off to the side and stuff. But I get why they went for a simpler model. How dare you use your stupid circle AoE right as I'm using Berserk. Stagnant. So long as I'm not standing in the AoE marker when it disappears, move back into the AoE as it's actually happening. Oh, gross, dude. Sick-ass barf monster. You six-eyed muppet. Nope, you look at me. Well, unfortunately, friendship is not possible. Only violence. Oh shit! Kill-stealing asshole. That was a guest appearance by the dragon Ayatar, who will be our final boss. Most of these critters are little baby dragons. So these are some comet chasers. These are small dragons. And they may, you know, look like radically different species, but the thing with dragon evolution is that they, as they gain in power, they tend to rebuild their bodies from scratch out of magic. Like, dragons in this setting are fundamentally spiritual creatures who create bodies purely as matters of convenience. So a dragon will reach a certain age and level of power and say, you know what? Convenient if I had wings, or it would be convenient if I had a more powerful breath weapon, or if I had armored scales or something. And so they'll kind of design a bespoke body to suit the specific needs that they've been running into. So you'll wind up with a group of radically different dragons who are technically related to each other. Like, I'm sure these are all Ayatar's brood that have invaded Brayflox's Longstop with him. Is there a chest over here, or was there just a cool... just a cool view. Okay. Alright, we're going to take a risk here and try a big pull. Gonna make my healer work for a living. Berserk overpower. Okay, yeah, that was a little stressful for the healer, but who cares? You're not a real person. I chose you out of a menu. You don't exist when this dungeon is over. Remember that. Never forget. You're fake and I own you. And let's fight this big optional boss, Tentacle Kitty. Well, wasn't that thrilling? And no rewards for the Tentacle Kitty. Used to be individual enemies would give experience in these dungeons, but now you get the experience for the dungeon in just a block after each boss fight. So it used to be kind of worthwhile to go and chase down all those little side fights. But now I'm doing it just because I want to show off the whole dungeon. Uh-oh, a boss room. That marker indicates he's going to use what's called a tank buster, a big-ass attack that will do heavy damage and will probably kill anybody who is not the tank. So when I see that big red marker, my job is to pop some kind of mitigation power. So that it doesn't completely destroy me. It'll be rare that a tank buster will outright kill the tank themselves. But I don't want to stress out the healers. This boss's fun trick. These poison blobs that will expand into a wider AoE and go off a little faster than you can possibly react to. So you gotta anticipate where they're gonna explode to and be in the right spot first. He's trying to be tricky by dropping 200. So I know that that one's going to go off first. And then I move away. Hooray! I have killed my very first full-fledged dragon. You can tell he's dead for real because he exploded into grape. Oh, I got a special long stop axe. Is it good looking? Put some clothes on, you're indecent. I guess that's an axe. lot of axe designs for the warrior class are frankly goofy looking. Oh, yeah. Bye, goblins. Sorry about the one of your friends that I failed to save. So yeah, I appreciate an axe that looks like you could actually lift it without the heads snapping off. All right. Goodly Uplander has thanks of Gobbyflock. Flighty Beast was tricksy foe, but outwitted with plans making. Uplander has goodly head for a fighty think. Brayflox happy gives tasty fresh gobby treats to clever Uplander. Give me your snake-ass cheese, lady. Cheese is stinky sweet gobby treat. Special make with secret gobby arts. No party complete without gobby gouda. Brayflox every say. Your nasty-ass cheese. I will take it with gratitude, and I've already been... Oh. Oh, the actual nightmare. This is a rare horse. But since I have already been to Costa del Sol, I will fly there instead of taking the long way. Alright, here's your fucking cheese, Weisskate. I gather you solved Brayflox's little problem. By the gods, that unholy stench. This is, definitely goblin cheese. Judging from the smell, this should be quite flavorful. How's it made? It's best you remain ignorant of such things. I still remember when I learned what kind of milk they use. Ugh. What do you mean you forgot the wine? Weisskate would like to congratulate you on a job well done. Bravo, Siege. Thanks to you, our guests shall be honored with a marvelous banquet. But what good is an exotic feast without an equally exquisite aperitif? Luckily, I know just the person to ask. Make your way to Wineport and seek out Shamani Lomani, another former member of the company. All you have to do is give him this order slip. He'll take care of the rest. Oh, and if you're wondering if this is merely a ploy to test your patience, I assure you I do actually need that wine. And while you're there, give Shamani Lomani my regards. I am going to do violence to you someday, Weisskate. Oh, hey, my goofy-ass bike from the opening credits, or the opening action sequence of Final Fantasy XII. This looks so uncomfortable to ride. They animated it like this just so that Fran, the hot bunny lady, would have her ass sticking up in the air. Oh yeah, there's a second seat because you can have two riders on that mount. So there's the pilot in the ass up seat, and then some sit in the back in the throne uh, with their legs spread so that if they're wearing any kind of skirt, you get a very intense panty shot. Sweat, grime, and blood. Ah, you reek of blood. An adventurer, unless I'm mistaken. What brings you to Wineport? This guy is blind, in case it's not obvious from him identifying me by scent. An order. Let me guess. A request for the finest vintage I can muster. The paper smells of loam and perfume. Costa del Sol? There's also the unmistakable odor of goblin cheese. Yes, Master Gegaruju would not settle for anything less than the best. Durstwite's and his crew must be quite busy preparing an exotic feast, hence his decision to be an adventurer. Ah, but perhaps you're confused. This display of deduction was not intended to impress you. When one loses his vision, he's forced to compensate in other ways. But you've no interest in my affairs. You wish only to discuss the wine, I suspect. That is correct. An offer you can refuse. Shamani Lomani would like to discuss wine with you. Life can be so delightfully unpredictable. I always had a passion for wine, but it wasn't until I was forced to retire that I could pursue it as more than a mere hobby. It wouldn't have been possible if not for the savings I amassed during my time as a mercenary, of course. Say what you will about the nature of that work, none can deny that it pays well. Ah, but you grow impatient, and Weisgate must have his wine. Herein lies the problem. Nothing of my possession is of sufficient quality for this occasion. The best vintages in town are hoarded by Bergelaint, who owns and operates the largest winery in Vilbrand. Somehow, I doubt he'll be receptive to your request, but given these circumstances, we must needs beg his assistance. Yeah. Hey, give me some fucking wine! What rank amateur bottled this wine? The impurities have rendered it nigh undrinkable. Dismissal is too good for the man responsible. He should be made to drink every drop of his polluted swill. What is it? I'm in the middle of an important discussion, and I do not care for interruptions. Huh? That neophyte vintner bade you speak with me? Ha! Neither you nor your friend has the palate to appreciate the subtle qualities of my private stock. I would sooner serve you goobu urine than sell you my worst vintage. Begone from my sight. The time-honored tradition of doing business by being too snobby to have customers. Good job there, buddy. I take it he said no. Really, in those words. Well, I can't say that I'm surprised. While there's no denying his passion and skill, the wine baron of Limsa Liminsa is not a man known. Very well, we shall have to take an alternative approach. It won't work. Shamani Lomani has another bright idea. There's a chance, however small, that another resident of Wineport can furnish us with a suitable wine. In fact, had you come several years ago, I guarantee this would not be a problem. Alas, the quality of our product has declined significantly in recent years. The only breeds cultivated these days are common lowland vines, which isn't to say that their grapes are of poor quality, only that we've known better. Long ago, the vignerons of Wineport crossbred several species and produced a grape-bearing vine of never-before-seen quality. Bacchus grapes were one in town, as they were used to produce vintages which surpassed all others. This includes the most aromatic, the most complex, the most flavorful of all wines. I, the legendary Bacchus wines, were born right here in Wineport. Pardon my enthusiasm, you see. I once had the privilege to sample that particular wine. It was an otherworldly experience. In that moment I felt as though I had tasted the nectar of the gods themselves. I transcended my mortal flesh and was one with all creation. But as is all too often said, the calamity changed that. The Bacchus vineyards were completely destroyed, along with much of the existing stock of Bacchus wine. What little remains is closely guarded by its owners, for it can no longer be made. If we can't convince Berglaint to part with his wines, our next best option, as ridiculous as it sounds, is to find someone who has a bottle of Bacchus wine and to offer them every gill we can spare. I've heard rumors that one of the vignerons tending the vineyards might have once owned a bottle. Perhaps you could start by speaking with them. Where are they hiding? I'm not going to navigate all these stupid terraces. Who are you? Bacchus wine? Nah, don't remind me. I used to have a cellar filled with the stuff. Thought I could keep the wine safe from the thieves and elements. Never counted on a bloody primal blowing up my goddamned house. Well, you're useless to me. Smoke a turd, Durham Follerin. What? Do I have wine? I wish. I never had the chance to try it myself. Sorry, friend, but you're a few years too late. Alright, I've asked 2 guys and I'm out of ideas. No luck, Most regrettable, but we had to try. But Bacchus wine would have been perfect for the occasion. I must confess, my certitude could be due in part to personal history with the beverage. It is, after all, the very reason I decided to become a vintner. After Titan blinded me in our battle beneath a Gomoro, I fell into a deep depression. It wasn't until I tasted Bacchus wine for the first time that I realized there was still so much I could experience, even in my condition. It helped me to find a new direction in life. It breaks my heart to think that the wondrous ambrosia which once filled me with hope may be forever lost to us. There's now been 4 consecutive quests to get your damn wine bottle. Give a man a drink. Shamani Lomani appears to be in deep thought. I must say, this talk of Bacchus wine has made me rather nostalgic. Indeed, there's much I miss about my life with the company of heroes. After everything the captain has done for me, I couldn't bear to disappoint him. I have no fear. I swear that I shall find a suitable wine for the banquet, though I may need some time to think of a solution. In the meantime, there's a favor I'd ask of you. 2 years ago, in the deepest depths of my despair, I stumbled across Vilbrand as a vagabond drunk. I suspect I was looking for a place to die, because I very nearly found one not far from here. It was there that a man named Drest took me in and nursed me back to health. It was he who gave me my first taste of Bacchus wine, which helped me to find my new calling. Though I'm still a novice in the arts of winemaking, I'd like him to know that I'm pursuing my dream. This wine is my own original creation, and I'd be most grateful if you delivered it to him in my stead. Drest sometimes works at the Raincatcher Gully docks, so perhaps Ritskilt can tell you where to find him. Dinosaur! Dinosaur! Ain't got no feathers, 'cause this is a video game, and not a history book. Dinosaur! Oh, there's Ritskill. Dressed? You mean the hermit? I toss him a few gil when we need an extra pair of hands. He doesn't talk about himself, and I sure as hell don't ask. When a man's got a face with scars like that, you best leave well enough alone, I say. If you've a mind to find him, though, then head southwest to the Severed String. This mount has the same music as the ridiculous ass in the air bike because they come from the same part of the game. What? What do you want? Why? I didn't ask for this. Who sent you? Ugh. That weight. Dressed is suffering from extreme duress. Can't sleep. They won't let me sleep. The midges, the buzzing, keeps me awake. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I won't fight. I don't want to fight. Please make the buzzing stop. Make the midges go away. Okay, buddy. I'll ride my elephant down your stairs. No, hey, they're right here. Kaplow! Double kaplow. Triple kaplow. Oh, I made this Goobu mad too. Well, sorry Goobu. I know that you are goofy looking in a kind of adorable way. My little tank that the dwarves made for me. That I must be so incredibly uncomfortable inside. The laser is purely cosmetic. It does not actually deal damage. Hey, I heard you have PTSD. How about my sweet tank? Blam! Okay. It's not so loud anymore. Did you do that? Thank you. You helped me. Even after what my comrades and I did to your country. Your reconnaissance mission when the Maelstrom caught us by surprise. We tried to escape, but the others... no one else survived. I didn't ask for this, damn it. We're not even Garlean. They conquered my lands just like they tried to conquer yours. I don't want to die in some blasted jungle halfway around the world. I just want to go home. Buddy, I hear you. I am sympathetic to your plight, despite the fact that I am surrounded by the warrior's aura of rage. Battle scars. Drest appears to be in greater control of his faculties. I wish to thank Shamani for the wine. That was overly kind. Would you be willing to bear a gift back to him? Last night at Red Mantis Falls, I collected the sap from nearby palm trees. If placed in coconut shells and stored for a few bells' time, it makes for a fine wine, see? It should be ready by now. I left 3 shells out there. Please take them to Shimani for me. I'm glad he's moved on with his life. I hope to one day do the same. Yeah, good luck, man. What have we got? My ugly skinny dog. Looking for wine in the rain. That lady's ran on the same quest as me. You looking at me, huge lumpy frog? You looking at me? Yeah, I thought so. It's okay, he's just sleeping. My unicorn? Yeah. Somebody in the FF14 art team does not know what a horse looks like. It's been some time, Siege. What news do you have? Ah, yes. I recall he did have some knowledge of winemaking. A simplistic but nevertheless effective method that utilizes the natural properties of palm sap. I shall have to enjoy this batch before it spoils. We're not so different, Drest and I. 2 men have long struggled not to let our scars define us. I worry that he's been alone with his thoughts for far too long. Aye, it's past time I paid him a visit. Thank you for looking after him, Siege. It was a very good year. Shamani Lomani is brimming with glee, and he wishes to share the reason why with you. By the gods, Siege, listen. I know you're eager to wash your hands of this wine business, but I've just discovered something extraordinary about Drest's palm wine. He sealed each coconut shell with a leaf which has a very distinct shape and unusual odor. I thought I was going mad at first, but now I'm certain. These are the leaves of a Bacchus grapevine. Do you know what this means? Somewhere in Raincatcher Gully, the legendary vine still grows. If we could obtain a cutting, we could revive the Bacchus wine industry. We must know where Drest found these leaves. Here, take one of them back to him and see what he remembers. Almost done with this stupid fetch quest. Hey, it's my own tentacle kitty, and I'm gonna fly because I've already been over here on foot. Don't ask how my tentacle cat can fly. It's magic. A wizard did it. Oh, hello again. What is it? You got these fancy grapes? I need these fancy grapes for making fancy wine for a bunch of fancy assholes. For their fancy picnic. Fancy, fancy, fancy. I'm going to say it so many times that cognitive fatigue will set in and I'll forget that it's a real word and it'll just sound like gibberish in my mouth. Fancy, 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 fancy. Yep, there it is. Shit. It's just a leaf, isn't it? I only chose it because it was pretty, didn't know it was rare. I found them near the Juggernaut to the south, but I didn't see any grapevines. I saw fresh gubu tracks, though. Maybe the leaves grow from vines growing on the back of one such beast. Scuba. Scuba. Hey, Brock, say scuba. If you go looking for it, please be careful. Some gubus are more territorial than others, and you may have to defend yourself. Nope. Apologies, I'm gonna have to murder another one of these friendly, goofy-looking bastards. Hey, it's Master Chupon, who has a face for a butt. This is his front face. Ugh, hello. I'd like to trade Pokemon cards. And this is his butt face. He is a horrible monster from Final Fantasy VI. Don't ask me what the hell his deal is, because the game doesn't really ever explain it. Alright, that Gubu is not my target. That Gubu is part of a special event. He is a demon from hell who attacks by sneezing on you so hard that you are blasted clear out of the arena. Hey, be cool, man. I don't want to fight you. Stop hitting me with your big noodle arms. Calm down. Buddy, you've had one too many. Well, alright then, if you insist. Violence! My Magitech Walker is also from Final Fantasy VI. Which is why it plays the opening credit music from Final Fantasy VI when you write it. Well, I guess I found some of the fancy leaves on that guy. If you can believe it, this quest chain used to be about twice as long. And then they went back in and pruned a bunch out of it. So this is the trimmed down version somehow. What did Drest have to say, Siege? Tell me everything. Here's your damn fancy grapes. Almost ate them on the way over. Aha! I was right. This smell, this texture. I hold in my hands a Bacchus grapevine cutting. Come now, enough of this nonsense. I've heard talk of your discovery, and I refuse to believe that a common adventurer and a novice vintner could... I refuse to believe that you're talking to me out of your butthole face. 12 is my witness. It is a Bacchus grapevine. Wherever did you find this fantastic specimen? What? You'd offer this to me, but why? There's none better positioned to reconstruct the Bacchus vineyards than you, Master Berglant. You have the resources, the knowledge, and the passion to do so. It would be selfish of me to keep this cutting. I never knew you cared so deeply about your craft. Thank you, good sir. I'll not squander this gift. In just a few years' time, I swear that every tavern across Eorzea will once again be clamoring for casks of Wineport's legendary Bacchus wine. And on that day, this big dumb asshole's heart grew 2 sizes. Sir, you needn't... Wait, the shape of this bottle, the scent of this label. This couldn't possibly be... A 1547 Bacchus? But that's impossible. This vintage hasn't been seen since years before the calamity. It was the crown jewel of my personal collection. For years I debated opening it, wondering if today or tomorrow would be the ideal time. But now I realize it was never meant for me. It should be savored by the saviors of wine port, I say. He's made us an offer we can't refuse. Master Gegaruju will find no finer wine. You've forever changed Wineport Siege. Thank you for your kindness and your generosity. Don't permit me to delay you any longer. Pray deliver this wine to Captain Weisskate. Just give me the damn bottle. Huh? Well, yes. I would very much like to drink it. But I'm a patient man. I have faith that one day I shall have another opportunity to taste perfection. Good, because I'm going to chug it all on the way back and fill the bottle with piss. There you go, Weisskate. Drink deep. I kind of wish I could dispel my rage aura. But so long as that meter up at the top there is at any percent greater than 0, it's going to be full. Let's move that thing out of the way. Let's shove it up here somewhere. Now it's alright. Now it's a little too close to my map. There we go. Your prolonged absence was beginning to concern me. It's one of the wine I asked you to bring. Is that 7 hells? A 1547 Bacchus. Even I know how rare that is. I have to admit I didn't think you had it in you. But congratulations, Siege. Thanks to you, this will be the most luxurious feast Costa del Sol has seen in years. Considering the lengths you went to, I hope our guests appreciate it. Speaking of which, your associate arrived a short while ago. She appears to be growing somewhat impatient. Perhaps you could tell her that the banquet is about to begin. Dola. In the company of heroes, Ustola is concerned for your well-being. You have the look of a man who's been to the 7 hells and back. But a guest should be expected to supply the victuals for a banquet held in his own honor. And this, while the shadow of Titan looms over us all, it beggars belief. I can only applaud your stoicism. Had I been asked to endure such ignominy, I fear I should have accepted my lot with less grace. Well, you know, I didn't want to, but I am not in control of the narrative. Lady Ustola, Sir Zabak. That's right. You kneel. You kneel and you cower. You cower and you beg. You beg for your life, capitalist Lalafell. 1,000 pardons for this extreme discourtesy. I was wholly unaware of your true identity, sir. Had I known, I would never have permitted my man to subject you to such unspeakable ordeals. Come now, he must have sensed something was amiss. You didn't seriously think I would send you running the length and breadth of Eorzea for a banquet, did you? Yeah, asshole. Spare me your mockery. Spare me your mockery, Captain. Your intent was unclear to me until this moment. And unlike me, Siege has no knowledge of your traditions. Mayhap you would be so good as to enlighten him. Aye, aye, fair's fair. There's no sense in hiding it any longer. We five were chosen by our brothers and sisters, and before the company of heroes disbanded, we swore a solemn oath. But any who would follow in our footsteps must be weighed and measured, not by their reputation, but by their deeds. Oh, wait, that wasn't who was talking. Each man would judge these would-be god-slayers by his own criteria. If even one found him wanting, he would be rejected without a second thought. But if he proved himself worthy, we swore that we would do our utmost to support his cause. The world has ever been full of brave souls eager to give their lives for a righteous cause, but all too few capable of making a difference with their sacrifice. To send wave after wave of hapless adventure into the jaws of a foe against whom they have no hope of victory is worse than futile. Titan is not one to be challenged lightly, and we will not be complicit in the deaths of the unworthy. No, you'll just be complicit in the deaths of all the citizens of Limsa Lominsa who Titan would have rampaged over if nobody had gone to do anything about it. Their logic is so fucking stupid. I hate this story. I hate this story. Oh, fuck you, Wesker. Gonna Carl, you're stolen the city. Okay. I'm calm. I'm cool. Which is why the five of you deigned to test Siege with such commendable thoroughness. Time well spent, I'm sure. But tell us, Captain, what is the assessment of you and your fellows? He's a brave one, that much is certain. He willingly walked in the midst of danger, despite my repeated warnings that it could cost him his life. His skills are undeniable. He stalked his prey as relentlessly as any child of the sands, and struck with precision when an opportunity presented itself. Too many adventurers these days care only for fortune and glory. Siege, however, is a kind and generous soul, and certain he has no shortage of loyal allies who will gladly fight at his side. Wily Uplander is talentful and plans-maker, tricksy foe for mighty Rockman. I can only concur with my colleagues' assessments. We five of the company of heroes hereby judge you a worthy challenger. Cast down the Lord of Crags, Siege Zabak, and write a new chapter in the history of Eorzea. I'm so glad to have your approval. Fucking douchebags. With the formalities out of the way, let the festivities begin. Summon the dancers. Pour the wine. How about you give me the information? Eat, drink, and be merry, my friends, for today we celebrate the birth of a new legend, Siege Zabak, Titan's Bane. Please don't crawl up my asshole now. Siege Zabak, Titan's Bane. Fuck all y'all. Yustola knows what's up. So, yep. If we kill them, they won't tell us. We have to endure this. Yeah, that's why I like Yustola, because she has no patience for this kind of bullshit. What's up, dancing girl in your bikini? I'm sorry, this degrades us both. Congratulations, sweetling. Now relax and enjoy the show. It's only just begun. Here, give me the fucking feast. Stanky cheese and worm meat. And what the hell else? Oh, yeah. Giant endangered adamantoise turtle eggs. And some apparently very good wine. Alright. I ate your fucking feast. Tell me where Titan is! Tasting the exotic feast triggers a divine revelation. In the brief, transcendent moment, you glimpse the true form of reality, Comprehend its fleeting nature and cry out to the heavens in celebration. Wow. Does it give me a bonus to my combat stats? No? Okay, don't care. When you face the Lord of the Crags, think not of Limsa Limensa, Eorzea, or anything beyond his chamber. Think only of the men and women by your side. Fight for them, they will fight for you. Remember that no great victory was ever achieved alone. Goodly Uplander must be facing mighty Rockman with clever fighty think. Gobbyflock cannot be coming to rescue this time. I fucking hate you, Landonell. I hope you catch herpes from fucking a dog. Ah, Siege, you brave fool. Promise me that when you meet Titan, you'll look him in the eye and tell him Landonell sends his regards. I'll tell him no such thing. I will shit on your grave. You are a veteran of countless battles, Siege. This is but one more. Trust in your experience and you'll prevail. Trust in my butthole. Pooping on your grave, too. You're blessed with fortitude to rival the earth itself. Titan will struggle to break you, I think. Yeah, I have nothing more to say to you, Wisekit. As far as I'm concerned, the 5 of you died mysteriously as soon as this storyline was concluded. You are kind to indulge them, Siege. This banquet is as much for the company as it is for you, whatever they may claim. I do not deny that they mean well, but now is scarcely the time for celebration. Though they have all but pronounced you the victor, the battle with Titan is yet to begin. The hour has come for the good captain to make good on his promise. We must speak with him again. Yep. As you wish. Wisekit truly intends to tell you how you may face Titan this time. You must be eager to face Titan. As promised, we'll show you the way. Travel to Bronze Lake in Upper Lenosia. There you'll meet with Real, another man who once served with the company. To ensure that this knowledge does not fall into the wrong hands, he'll remain in hiding until you've given the correct signal. Give me your map. You must whistle loudly at 3 locations I mark. Only then will he appear to meet you at this 4th location. I realize they may seem excessive now, but you'll see that it is more than reasonable once you comprehend the risks inherent in our method. You suck, you suck. Never gonna see you ever again. There are strong implications that the Company of Heroes will be featuring in the next expansion. And, honestly, I might not buy the next expansion because of it. I just hate these guys so much. Like, if it's a prerequisite of the next stage in the story that I spend a lot of time with them, then I might just say, you know what, Endwalker was the end of Captain Siege Daybak's story. But it's possible that the person who's playing a role in that expansion is not any of the guys that I've met. It's another former member of the Company of Heroes who was not personally involved in delaying me for as long as possible while the kobolds pointed a WMD at my hometown. And here we have the medicinal hot springs of Camp Bronze Lake. where I was once forced by a quest to give a creepy old man a body massage. What level is... I keep running into this this cat girl. It must be, I don't know, weird for... She's probably a new player. Has the little sprout icon, which indicates new player, and is only level 42. So it's probably pretty weird for a new player going through the main quest in parallel to me running it as a max level, very well armored character. Right, Real is cool. Real is a bro. I don't hate you. I hate all your old friends, though. Greetings, mate. Might you be the one the captain said would come calling? Aye, I thought so. Pay attention now. I'm explaining myself twice. Lord of Crags. Real is waiting for you to give him your undivided attention. Years ago, when we was weighing up on how to get to Titan, one of our scouts stumbled across this beastman Aetherite, see? Huh? What's that look for? Not familiar with him? He speaks of an unamplified Aetherite, which has been claimed by a beast tribe. Lest you wonder, there's no fundamental difference between such Aetherites and those which you have used on countless occasions, Siege. Ah, well, if it ain't the Charlayan lass. Welcome back. Forgive me for interrupting. I planned to await your report, but I succumbed to... The tunnels beneath Ogomoro form a bewildering labyrinth that no outsider has ever fully explored. How the company of heroes managed to navigate it is a mystery I have long pondered. Huh. Give us a bit of credit, love. We weren't daft enough to try going in the front. The kobolds are always digging new tunnels and filling the old ones with traps. One wrong step, and the next thing you know, you've got 100 tons of rock on your noggin. Suicide to even try, see? Funny thing was, the kobolds didn't seem to have no trouble finding their way around. And it was that as got us thinking. I mean, Ogomoro mines are like a bleeding city, ain't they? And getting around in a city that big would be a right pain in the arse if you didn't have an Aetherite, wouldn't it? So it stood to reason that the kobolds must have one, didn't it? Even if there were Aetherite shards in the depths of Ogomoro, you would have needed to attune yourselves to them before you could identify their signatures within the life stream. Ah, well, that's where you're wrong, love. We had this Charlayan bloke to help us, see? Delivered us right into Titan's bedchamber, he did. I don't rightly know how he did it, but I do remember him saying it weren't nothing any Charlayan scholar worth their salt couldn't manage. Did he now? Locating a beacon in the absence of a known signature might be possible, if the Aetherites in question happen to be... Oh, yes. But in order to guide a traveler to said beacon safely, a second party would be required to... It's possible, in theory at least. Yet I cannot be certain until I try. Plainly, all will depend upon whether or not I am worth my salt. Oh, yar, lass. Don't you worry about that. Have a bit of faith in yourself. Why don't we all go to Zelma's ruin and take a closer look at the Aetherite? It ain't far, though there's sure to be a few kobolds blocking the way. Naught you can't handle, mind. Alright. I will once again coat my axe in mole people blood. My Amaro is the friendly four-winged camel bird that I got for getting all jobs to level 80. I did not get a special mount for getting all jobs to level 90. Thanks, developers. I think I got a stupid hat or something. But realistically, the Amaro mount should have been something that you got just as part of the main story quest. They were important enough to the story. So this is the Aetheryte the Company of Heroes used to gain access to Titan's Sanctuary. Huh. It's as Papalimo speculated. In its present state, this Aetheryte signal will not be strong enough for our purposes. I may, however, be able to use my own energies to amplify it. Alas, the task will monopolize my attention for the duration. It seems you'll have to proceed without me, Siege. I must needs remain here and supplement the beacon's power, lest you be denied your only path of escape. Fear not. I'll summon the Maelstrom forces stationed nearby to protect us. With effort, it's possible that I may be able to stabilize the Aetheryte's signal and thereby join you, albeit belatedly. Until such time as I do, you'll be on your own. Now let us see if I am worth my salt. I've located another beacon, one far below the mountain. I can only speculate as to what you'll find there, so stint not in your preparation. It's Titan fighting time, Titan fighting time. Gonna kill the mole man god, it's Titan fighting time. Look, an overdweller. Yes, yes, an invader from above. He uses our Aetherites against us. He has defiled Titan's sanctuary. Trespassed, violated, defiled. Overdwellers must leave. Overdwellers must fly. Brothers and sisters, fear him not. His fate shall be decided by the Lord of Crags. Hear me, overdweller. You and your treacherous brethren must be held to account for the breaking of the covenant. You shall be first to face judgment, then Limsa Lamensa and her oath-breakers, liars, betrayers, oath-breakers. O great Father, Lord of Crags, Titan, we summon you, Titan, we summon you. O great Father, Lord of Crags, Titan, we summon you, Titan, we summon you. Hey. He is come, the Lord of Crags, Titan is come. Overdweller, art thou deaf to their weeping? Thy vile kind coveteth ever the blessing of the land, and murdereth my children by the score, all in service to greed. Such sins are beyond pardon. Ah, but I'm not the first to suffer thy defiance. Thou didst bring a freet low. Yeah, and I made this sweet axe out of his sundered essence. I'm gonna make one out of you. Godless overdweller, thy myriad heresies shall not go unpunished. Upon thee shall I wreak terrible vengeance. Alright, Titan is fun, because his arena is this little pillar, and if you get knocked off the edge, that's game over. But I've got my handy Scion Lancer, Scion Conjurer, and Scion Thaumaturge to back me up. So let's turn back on my tank stance, and throw down. Alright, get to the edges, everybody. And he knocks off the barrier that would keep us from falling out. And he knocks off more of the edge to make the arena very, very small. If you do this in hard mode, only this yellow bit in the middle remains. So there's basically no room to dodge. You gotta break Titan's heart in order to make him vulnerable again. Oh, so sad. I'm sorry. Huge earthen poop! Inner beast! This fight is so much easier as tank than his DPS because he's not targeting me with any of his special crap. Oh, but he did put my healer inside of a rock jail. Good man. Yeah, see all my support NPCs running all over the place while I just stand here. The Lord of Crags! Great Father Titan has fallen! Yep. Killing gods is what I do. Hey, look at that. Another fan from my Kingdom Hearts starting zone. Almost got a complete collection. When I get them all, I get a free sub sandwich. Just reminded myself that I have a sub sandwich in the fridge. The crimes of the Overdwellers shall never be forgiven, never be forgotten. No, no, never. 'Twas your kin who broke the covenant. We've acted only in defense of our lands. Cease your aggression, or never will there be peace. Until our dying breaths we shall defy you, deny, decry, defy. At some point in the very near future, I am going to take a break and grab some lunch. Now these are the readings one would expect of an icon. I've seen enough. We proceed as planned. Are you sure that's wise, my lord? Your curiosity is untested and unproven. We do not yet know its true capabilities. And trust in mine, Ridditon. My curiosity, as you so eloquently put it, would have bested Titan in the blink of an eye. Why, if there be truth to the legends, it could readily subjugate the whole of Eorzea given but a little while longer. Is that not so? It is. No greater single power has ever been conceived, much less realized. What you say may well be true. While such devices may win battles, I do not believe they will serve to change the course of this war. Oh, but they will. Have a little faith, my friend. I cannot endorse this course of action. Fool. And now he has a fourth. Fascinating. Carry on, Crystal Bearer. Farther you have come, your work is far from done. And naught remained to mark his passing. Well, the Ascians are nothing if not elusive. It's of little wonder that they should cast advanced teleportation magics as at will. But if they would choose to consort with the Empire, what common goal could they possibly share? I feared I might arrive too late, but I see you had the matter well in hand. I've taken measures to ensure that we are not pursued, yet I cannot say how long they will hold. Take your leave while the kobolds are still in disarray. I'll follow anon. There's something I must investigate before I depart. I'll teleport you to the Aetherites in Zelma's ruin, and we will rendezvous at Camp Bronze Lake. Agreed? If you want to hang out in this stinking lava-filled kobold pit, alright, good job, team. Once again, I wonder how none of you got your mind controlled by Titan, but the story is apparently not worried about justifying that. I guess he was too busy defending himself from my axe. Oh, speaking of which, no longer using the Ifrit axe, now I'm using the Titan axe. Which I made myself, but not on this stream. My angry bird. I am relieved to see you well, but come, let us discuss our next step. Oh, hey, you have completed part 3. Alright, I'm going to call a 10-minute break, get myself some lunch. I will be back. I need to come up with a better system than that. But hopefully people look in the very bottom left corner of the screen and see the message. Thank you kindly for your patience. I am sandwiched up and ready to rock. And if I weren't running this from my PlayStation, I would have a real AFK message. But I'm still struggling to get the audio to work right from my laptop, so... Alright, let's begin Realm Reborn, part 4 of 6. And this should take us, if I remember correctly, part 4 takes us all the way to the end of launch Realm Reborn. So to the last fight of the original release version of the game. And then parts 5 and 6 were patch content that were added in between the release of A Realm Reborn and the release of Heavensward. Coincidentally, parts 5 and 6 are where the story really kicks off. Like, you know, this story that's going on in parts 1 through 4, this is alright. Aside from, obviously, my intense irritation with the Company of Heroes. But, like, around part 6 of A Realm Reborn, it gets good. It gets, like, actually good. And then Heavensward is my favorite expansion in the whole game. I think, well, yeah, of the 4 expansions, I think Heavensward had the strongest experience beginning to end. I think Shadowbringers had the strongest launch content, but some of the post-launch patch content kind of lost me. And there were also some things that they placed emphasis on that I really, really disliked that brought the experience down for me. I think Stormblood, despite focusing on the parts of the setting that I care about the most, that are most intimately tied to my character's story, Stormblood was a mess. Stormblood didn't know what to do with a couple of its major characters, and divided its focus between 2 very different geographic locations, so that it's still good. It's still like a solid 8 out of 10, but like Heavensward was a 10 out of 10, and Shadowbringers was a 9.5 out of 10, you know. And then End is still not done. We've had the launch and we've had patches. But Endwalker, the launch content was even more scattered than Stormblood's. And I feel like it was kind of weak in that sense. But the character parts, like the locations don't feel as well developed as the locations in Heavensward or Shadowbringers. But the characters all feel very well developed. The actual narrative line about the Scions is solid so far. So I have mixed feelings about Endwalker, but I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's as incredible, as kind of triumphant as Shadowbringers and Heavensward. And just a fun reminder that the free trial contains A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, my favorite expansion, and goes all the way up to level 60. So, you know, if you haven't checked that out, maybe check it out. You can play with me. Yep, ahoy Bahamut. So, I don't know if you were here for it, but I just wrapped up part 3 of A Realm Reborn. So I just finished off the Titan storyline. So before too much longer here, probably within the next 2, maybe 3 streams, I should get to the point where I need teammates. So I will be recruiting in our free company's Discord. Yeah, that's fair. Shadowbringers was solid. It's just, like, all the stuff about being chums with the Ascians back in the day really, really does not land for me. But, like, I don't know, the setting it's the most well-realized setting of all the expansions. Like the zone design, just flawless, fabulous. All good things. Y'shtola is keen to discuss your next task. The word will already have reached Maelstrom Command. Protocol requires that a representative of our order inform the High Command of the mission's success. The honor is rightfully yours, Siege. Once again, I must commend you on a job well done. We shall speak again soon. Will we? If I recall correctly, I won't see you for some time. Oh well, back to Maelstrom headquarters. Oh, damn it. Let me just teleport, damn it. About the only thing about the launch version of Shadowbringers that I'm still really like, why the hell did they do that? Why? That was a weird decision. Is Ranjit. Ranjit as a character just doesn't land for me. I wonder how much of that is frustration with the fact that the solo fight against him takes like 20 minutes to complete, too. I don't know. I look forward to doing it again, though, now that since he fights similar to a Reaper, he's got a little dragon buddy instead of a. Maybe his dragon buddy is a demon, since there are no native dragons to the first. I don't know. Anyway, that's all a long way off. I should stop dropping spoilers about later expansions, just on the off chance that I ever get a viewer who is watching this through for the first time. It's good to see you, Captain Zabak. Word of your triumph reached me some while ago, but I'm pleased to have it personally confirmed. First Ifrit and now Titan. Truly, when I think of your achievements, I feel the loss of the Warriors of Light less keenly. And there can be no greater compliment than that. You and your order are heroes. Suffice it to say, we're glad to have a scion in our ranks. I shall relay the details of your report to the Admiral forthwith. Please send my regards to the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Until next time, Captain. Siege, this has been Philia. Y'shtola has informed me of your success. You've won a great victory for the people of Eorzea, one that shall not be forgotten. What is more, both you and Y'shtola emerged from Ogomoro unscathed. Why, Tataru and the others seemed as glad as that as they did of Titan's fall. You can look forward to a hero's welcome. We'll be awaiting your return at the Waking Sands. There's much to discuss. Godspeed. Well then, I guess I better get back to the Waking Sands. I'm sure everything is great there, because I just talked to them and they sound like they're having a party. Yeah, I suspect Ranjit reflected, like, an early stage in the design process. Or else they just made him as his own cool thing, and then later on were like, hey, what if we made a class that works kind of like that? Oh, hey, spoilers alert. It's Midgard Stormer, father of all dragons. He's technically not here at this point in in the story, but right now he's my horse. Alright, thanks, buddy. Don't show up again. It's weird. Where's Tataru? Something suspicious. Uh-oh. It's dark, and the music is spooky. And everybody's lying on the ground like they're dead. Are they dead? Probably. I better check. Well, it's a shame none of you ever got names or were important to the story. This is another reason that I'm grumpy about the Company of Heroes, of course. That if they hadn't sent me around literally fetching their groceries for like 4 hours, I would have been here. I would have been here and this wouldn't have happened. So I blame Weisskit. I blame him personally, just as much as I blame whoever's actually responsible for this massacre. This one is glad. Walking one is safe. No, my friend the cabbage.
We'll be awaiting your return at the Waking Sands. There is much to discuss. Godspeed. Thank heavens he is safe. Louis Soir, do you see? Your light shines brightly in this one, and in time it will illuminate the realm once more. Oh!
Advance no further!
Oh, good. It's Liv. Yep. Good night, Chup.
We have come
Go
to
sleep.
the one who
Hey,
said
have we
he
got D&D
brings a
tonight?
Titan.
Or is tonight an off week? Or are you gone already? Well, I'll check the Discord. Alright. If not, then it was good seeing you. And if we do have it, then I will see you again later.
Bring him forth, or you shall know no mercy.
Confound it. Stay out of sight. I would leave a message with you. I surrender myself on the condition you spare the innocents.
Conditions? There speaks the Supreme Sire. I'll grant you have courage, but you would be better served by armor.
Search all you will. The one you seek is not here.
So it would seem.
And yet you knew to look here. But how?
Hold that thought.
Oh, anorexia.
No!
Conditions of surrender denied.
Cease at once!
Have you not done enough?
This whole business sure makes Gaius's redemption arc leave a bitter taste in my mouth, too.
Perhaps.
This is directly under his orders.
Enough. We must away. Though we have not found our quarry, the High Priestess of the Scions should suffice for now. They say she also possesses the Echo. I cannot wait to hear her scream. I said enough! We leave. Bring the prisoners.
Walking one Minfilia. Ask this one to. Ugh. Hey, be cool, little buddy. In case walking one returned, this one was to say, a church in eastern Thanalan. Walking one must claim sanctuary. This one tried to protect walking one Minfilia from Imperial ones. Forgive this one. Save. I'm gonna fuck some people up in your memory. Well, might as well teleport directly there, since I have been there once before. But yeah, big thanks to the company of heroes for going to such thorough lengths to make sure I was worthy. There were no consequences at all. Is something troubling you, my son? You have the look of one who... If there's anything I can do to help, anything at all, you need only ask. The wild roses are dead, Father, and I know not what to do. The wild roses, I see. You may speak freely here. We're all friends of the Scions. How? How could this have happened? Are you certain, and you are certain that Minfilia was among those taken by the Garleans? Yep. Saw it in my mushroom vision. Tripping balls, always true. Yeah, the distinction of what wounds are genuinely fatal and what wounds can be with a raise and a cure too. I don't get it, but yeah. Let us pray no further harm comes to them. You may stay here for as long as you wish. It's the least I can do for a friend of Minfilia's. I've known her since she was but a child. Well do I recall the day of our first meeting. I swore then to do everything in my power to support her, and will gladly offer the selfsame service to her brother and sister scions. So please, no matter what you require, you need not hesitate to ask. Marquis, would you come here for a moment? Yes, father? Gotta figure out my Sid voice. If you require assistance, pray speak with Marquis. He's a trifle shy, but I assure you he means well. I should explain, Marquis is a survivor of the Battle of Cartano. Alas, his experiences took a terrible toll upon his mind. Had we not taken him into our care, he would surely have perished in the desert. Marquis, I want you to look after Siege. Do you understand? Yes, father. Marquis, whatever. I won't be using that name for long. You can't take it with you. Marx has a personal request to make of you. Excuse me, Siege. Do you have a moment? It concerns this broken horologe which was found in the pocket of a man brought here for burial. There's something familiar about it, but just what I cannot say. Perhaps if I tinker with the device, it'll come to me. However, I lack the proper tools to do so. I would ask that you journey to Camp Drybone in my stead and obtain a bullpoint chisel and a pair of needle-nose pincers. They're often used by goldsmiths, so perhaps they would be the best people to ask. Of course, I don't expect you to foot the bill. Here, take this coin purse. That should cover it. Oh, that's you. Right on top of me. I was like, who the hell is this up on the desk sipping tea? Hey, hi. How you doing? So you get to see the fun Discord lag. A ballpoint chisel, you say? A pair of needle-nose pincers. Those things don't come cheap, you know. Have some money. Take it all. Balls. I mean, yeah, that should be sufficient payment. Nice doing business with you. Will not ride my wolf into church. That's impolite. Have you brought the tools I requested? Something occurs to me. Please wait here for a moment. It was for naught. Though I repaired the device easily, the sensation that stirs within me remains a mystery. But how? How did I do it? These hands, my hands, they moved with a mind of their own, deftly manipulating the clockwork mechanisms. There was no doubt or uncertainty. I knew exactly what to do, as though I had performed the same motions countless times before. Pardon me, Siege. This was a mistake. Please give the horloge to Sister Eluned. The man who once owned it is currently in her care, and I think it best that it be returned to him. Good day to you, sir. Have you come to pay your respects to this man? Nope, come to give him back his watch that guy stole. Never before have I seen such a queer device. You say that it measures the passing of time. Mayhap they are more common in Garlemald. I'm given to understand that its cities are filled with all manner of amazing technologies. Mark said that it belonged to the deceased. Oh dear. You don't suppose that the owner might have been a Garlean spy? It may behoove us to notify the authorities in Camp Drybone. But, mayhap more importantly, how did Marks manage to repair the device? I knew he had a talent for the trades, but this goes far beyond mending fences and thatching roofs. Bringing out the dead. Sister Eluned is staring at you with great sadness in her eyes. I recognize you now, Siege. Allow me to express my deepest condolences for those who lost their lives in the attack. I apologize if discussing this upsets you, but you should know that the bodies of your comrades are presently being removed from the Waking Sands to prepare for transport here. If you wish to leave this work to others, I understand. However, taking part might help you to find closure. Back to the Waking Sands. Ride my happy little sprout. Kinda wish the New Game Plus would give me some Horizon teleport tickets. Oh well. You don't look like one of them church fellas. Not that I'll turn you away, no sir. As you can see, we've got a pile of unidentified bodies over yonder. No one's come to claim them, so off to the lich yard they go. Be thankful you didn't have to go inside and see the carnage for yourself. That's the stuff of nightmares, I tell you. God's damned Imperials. I don't know what quarrel they had with these folks, but I sure as hells don't want to know. The sooner we put this behind us, the better. Say, ain't I seen you around here before? Or do you just have one of them faces? Never mind. Anyway, there's a carriage come to haul the bodies to the lich yard, out by the east gate. There's only 8 left to load up, but seeing as I'm exhausted from carrying all the others, I have a mind to leave the remainder to you. Might want to cover your nose while you work. Some of these folk are starting to turn. This bit where there's a different size cast bar for the size of the body that I'm picking up. This was some good storytelling. Like this was one of the first moments where I was like, oh, I'm kind of impressed by a mechanical choice that they made. What happened to the big fella? Nah, forget it. Just bring the next batch and toss them in the back. Ain't like they'll complain if you're rough. Ain't you a strong one? 4 in one trip. Reckon there's no need for me to lend you a hand with the rest then. Anorexia. I'm sorry, little dude. Come on, come on. Let's finish this before I die of old age. That should be all of them. Thanks for the help. Reckon it won't take too long to deliver all the corpses to the Lichyard. Even so, you might want to hurry back and tell them that our work here is done. Alright, so I'm probably going to keep going for another hour and a half here. I don't think I'm going to get to the next dungeon, remembering how much of a runaround the next major sequence is. I see that you decided to heed my advice. I pray that in doing so you found some small measure of peace. The first carriage from Vesper Bay arrived not long ago, and we've begun preparing your comrades for burial. I had a hand in the initial rites, and I'd like you to know that for many, death came quickly. Rest assured that we will treat them with the utmost respect, and do everything we can to shepherd them to Thal's realm. Thal's a jackass. I fought that guy. He has tricky mechanics that lie. Bury me not on the lone Sister Elenid wishes to discuss one of the scions who perished at the Waking Sands. Although we can perform rites for most of the scions, there's one whom we cannot accept. We would like you to return this one to her people, the Sylphs of Little Solace. It's only proper that she be given to the care of her friends and family, so that they may mourn her in accordance with Sylphic tradition. Poor Anorexia. Barely got to be a character. This one is surprised to see Walking One in Little Solace. How can these ones assist Walking One? By taking this dead body out of my backpack. Araxia! But this one does not understand. Comuxio, this one has heard much wailing. This one would know what has caused such distress. Terrible news, Elder One. Awful news. Walking One has returned to Little Solace, but why? These ones have not requested further aid. Noraxia, how did this happen? Explain everything to this one at once. You see, I had to get these picnic supplies for these guys to have a party, and, so not only Noraxia, but many of Walking One's friends were lost as well. Noraxia. Noraxia went to Thanalan at the behest of this one. Walking One was with Noraxia at the end. Tell this one that Noraxia was brave. Tell this one that Noraxia did not suffer. She got kicked into the wall hard enough that she died, so there's probably some suffering, but I'm not going to say that out loud. Hear Walking One's words. Thank you for bringing Noraxia home, Walking One. These ones also wish to thank Praying Ones. Tell Praying Ones these ones will remember this kindness. This one demands vengeance. Imperial Ones must pay. Imperial Ones must suffer. When the time comes for Walking Ones to face Imperial Ones, do not forget these ones. These ones would not have Noraxia's death be for naught. These ones will fight. I'm sure that will come up and be super important later, and won't just be an afterthought tacked on to a line of secondary dialogue. Yeah, I'm definitely not making it to the next dungeon. Thank you for your service to the Church and to the Sylphs. You may be pleased to know, in your absence, we interred the remaining scions in the Lich Yard. Perhaps you still wish to do more for your friends. If so, I would remind you that you have already done so much on their behalf. Please take a rest and set aside your burdens for now, Siege. Eyes on me. Marks believes he's being watched. I'm not imagining it, Siege. I know I'm being watched. This is different, sinister. As if I am under observation. The feeling comes and goes, but I felt it when I ventured outside. Yes, I know I felt it. Will you look outside for me, please? It'll only take a moment. Rather go graveyard hopping than walk around the fence. You are being watched. Hey man, you want to surrender? It'd be real cool if you did. Be cool, baby. Come on. You're not getting past my base regen rate. My hit points are back to full before you can hit me again. Alright. Pow! You were attacked, weren't you? Are you unharmed? Thank the gods. I knew it. He was watching me. But why was he watching me? What did he want with me? Did he, perhaps, know something of my past? If only I could have asked him. I need to think. Please allow me a moment alone. Wait. Father Iliad must hear of this. Will you tell him for me? It's important, I think. Others may come for me again. Heavens for friend, that such a thing should happen on holy ground. Do you have any idea who this man was? Did you notice anything distinctive about his garb or possessions? He was dressed like a member of the Garlean Secret Service, spies, secret guys. Oh yeah. This is Garlean steel, which means that the man who was watching Marks was... Make haste to Camp Drybone at once. We must summon the immortal flames before the Imperials come. Or we could be interrupted. Hey, it's Wiener Kid number 1. Or possibly Wiener Kid number 2. I can't tell. You're still dressing alike.
I fondly hoped that I might be the first to speak with you. Would that I had been so fortunate.
It's number 1, because you're talking.
At ease, adventurer. I come not on behalf of the Empire. On the contrary, I mean to revive the scions of the 7th Dawn. And to that end, I have come in search of a legend. The greatest engineer of our time, Master Sid Garland. I have come for you.
You know this Wiener Kid?
You are mistaken, child. He is but a poor soul who bore witness to the horrors at Cartano. I beg of you, leave us in peace.
Wait, Hear me, Sid. Eorzea needs you.
Amnesia-induced fucking brain sickness. My name hurts in my head.
Sid, was it? Here. These belong to you.
Some expert camera cuts because they can't actually have a model pick up or put down objects.
I thought you bore the mark of greatness. It seems that I was right. Our time together was all too brief, but it felt as though my son had returned to me. You have brought joy to an old man's life. But it is time for you to help those who truly need you.
Yeah, they've got the tech for it. They're just being lazy about it. Well, not lazy, but, you know, being economical, let's say. I am Wiener Kid number 1. I am an obnoxious little snot from a highborn family.
As a scion of the Seventh Dawn, I stand against our primal and imperial foes, as my grandfather once did. 'Tis no secret what befell our order at the Waking Sands. Word has already spread across Eorzea. The repercussions are far greater than you realize. In the wake of the calamity, the 3 city-states focused their efforts solely on reconstruction, leaving the Scions to combat the primal threat unaided. And lo, we are all but destroyed. Yet even as the nations mourn our demise and abandon what little hope they have left, we cannot forsake our duty, now least of all. The Ixal have summoned Garuda once more, and she torments the people of Kurthus as we speak.
Wasn't Alphino voiced by one of the dudes from Critical Role in A Realm Reborn? Let's make a quick detour to IMDb. Yeah, this is Sam Rigel.
Her appetite for destruction
Regal, or however you pronounce his last name.
Primals.
Regal, I don't know. I don't actually watch Critical Role, but as a dude who follows a lot of D&D related tags on the various social medias, I get a lot of Critical Role content blasted across my dashboard.
Worse,
oh yeah, you're talking about Garuda.
Garuda's
a problem, yes.
Our Baldessian colleagues believe she surpasses both Ifrit and Titan in strength.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be a problem.
Yet, therein lies an opportunity. Were we somehow to defeat Garuda, it would serve as a warning to the other beast tribes that even their mightiest gods can be felled.
Yeah, that will totally work. They
If
won't just
we
keep
are
on
to
summoning
face
and
our
summoning and
foe,
resummoning.
We must first circumvent the tempest that shields her sanctuary. And for that, we need an airship. Your airship, Sid.
I have an airship?
Yes, Sid, you do. Your very own airship. It was last seen in the skies over Gridania, not long before the calamity. So let us begin our search there.
An airship? My airship?
Yeah, I'm ready to be done with most of them.
Wait.
I decided that I'm gonna do a solo run of the Coils of Bahamut, just because it would feel weird having Alice show up in Stormblood without having actually, met her and befriended her. And I think Realm Reborn Alice is going to be the most jarring compared to everybody else. But yeah, there's a few, like Sid here, who becomes 1,000% more British as soon as Heavensward starts.
Come, let us put an end to the primals. Together, we will show the world that the Scions are still a force to be reckoned with.
They need my airship. They need me.
Yeah, New Sid doesn't, for a guy who shows up at least once per expansion for a major arc, he does not get a lot of voice dialogue. He who waited behind. Father Iliad has some parting words for you and the others. What a curious twist of fate that Master Sid Garland would at last be found within our church. It defies imagination. Beg your pardon, Siege. You wish to find his airship, yes? I know not how much truth there is to it, but there's a tale known as the final flight of the Enterprise, which grew popular in the wake of the Calamity. Much like the Great Gubu Wall of Ul'dah, it states that the Enterprise flew northwest from Gridania towards Korthus. If true, the airship would have passed through the North Shroud, likely over Fulgord Float, the closest settlement to Korthus. Mayhap the Serpents stationed there have records of the events that transpired that day. Yeah, you're too bloody useful. Yeah. That line always knocks me out of the scene a little bit. I'd hoped you might rest from your journeys for a time, but I see that the world still has need of you and the Scions. Pray look after yourself and Sid, Siege. I guess I'll look out for this guy. He's got fancy hair. What's funny is that Sid gets way more British, but Gaius keeps sounding pretty distinctly American. Even if new Gaius doesn't sound a thing like Richard Epcar. Is there aught I can assist you with, sir? The Enterprise. You speak of Master Garland's ship, yes? I needn't refer to the records. I know that the airship was sighted overhead 5 years ago, clearly bound for Korthus. What became of it after that, I can't say. If you wish to know more, pray speak with Vortifart. Vortifart. Vortifor. Until Spire. He was and saw it with his own eye. I'm unsure what it is you hope to accomplish, though. Even should you locate the ship, would you not need a man of Master Garland's caliber to fly it? I hear tell that the machinery is fiendishly complex. I got my own airship. With blackjack and hookers. What's up, Vortifart? You have come in search of Vortifart? For you found it. Indeed, I have served as a whaler for many years, since before the great snows came to Quarthus. What exactly is this about? Ah, the final flight of the Enterprise. I do indeed remember that day. Cold reception. Vortifart wishes to tell you of the final flight of the Enterprise. On the eve of the Battle of Cartano, nigh on 5 years ago, I held the Spire alone that night, while the bulk of our forces marched to meet the enemy in the field. Then all of a sudden, the most fantastic airship I'd ever seen splits the sky overhead. I could only watch in shock as it disappeared over the mountains to the northwest. The Enterprise wasn't destroyed during the calamity. I'd wager it's still somewhere in Kurthus. The astrologians in the observatorium may have records which could help, but to obtain them you'd need to deal with the Ishgardians who control the region. I wouldn't expect much, though. The high houses have long been their own affairs above all else. When Talamud descended, they took shelter behind the and even now they've little regard for the plights of other nations. Nevertheless, they may deign to assist should you prove yourself useful. Consider providing your services to the soldiers who guard the observatory. Though they may refuse you at first, I've little doubt they would accept aid freely offered. In other words, go and do the laundry and groceries and short errands for a bunch of other jackasses. It's alright. Ride my Halloween eyeball into the cold. Excuse me, can you repeat that? You used to offer your services to House Durandare? And what, pray tell, do you wish to receive in exchange? Absurd. As if we'd permit an outsider to peruse the records of the observatorium. Don't mistake our courtesy for friendliness. The Holy See of Ishgard may allow foreigners to travel freely within these lands, but we do not intend to offer succor to strangers. The Unending War. Sir Ludovois is doing his utmost to intimidate you into leaving. Hello and have mercy, are you still here? You may take shelter within our walls if you insist, but do not distract me while I'm on duty. We're stretched thin as it is. And where in the hells is that knight I sent out on patrol? I should have returned ages ago. Perhaps I have after all. If you still wish to aid us, search the wilds to the west for my missing man. You'll know him by his uniform, that of House Durandare, as is mine. You mean your extremely chainmail? Got it. Allergy Puff, ahoy! Alright, be cool. I guess not. If it wasn't for you, sir, I reckon they would have finished me off. Despicable dragon-loving bastards. Death with a mercy they didn't deserve. I prayed the rumors were mistaken, but this confirms the worst. I must immediately inform my superiors that the heretics are operating within this region. Fare thee well, friend. Bunch of wolves attacking that guy, not my problem. I must say, I didn't actually expect you to find my knight, much less rescue him. I see I may have been premature in my judgment, sir. We're a proud people, beholden to tradition. But that does not mean we are without humility. I shall instruct the astrologians to entertain your requests. However, understand that it is ultimately their decision whether or not you may peruse their records. Pray proceed to the observatorium and introduce mail. And that is the 3-hour mark for the stream, so I'm going to take 5 real quick to refresh my beverage. I will be back in a moment. Alright, I return to the hell of Catholic elves. Ah, the gentlemen come in search of the airship. This is highly unorthodox. Whatever could Sir Ludovois be thinking? It's true that we maintain meticulous records which stretch back generations. However, because this information is used to chart Dravanian activity, access is strictly controlled. One can never be too careful with heretics and their sympathizers lurking about. If you would persist with your inquiries, pray seek an audience with Chief Astrologian Forlamorn, up above. I will seek an audience, and furthermore, I'm gonna ride my freaky wind horse in your tower. The structure is ludicrous. What's the point of even building it if the entire interior is just going to be empty space? This would do nothing to capture the heat. In fact, it's probably colder in here than it is outside. I'm a frozen Catholic elf, and I'm not going to help you. Nah. No, absolutely not. Have you any inkling what it is you ask? Were our records to fall into the wrong hands, it could change the course of a war which has raged for generations. I speak not of some mere spat between self-run nations. Ours is a holy crusade, and we are the arbiters of Halone's will. I will not put our great nation at risk. Certainly not to help a foreigner locate a missing airship, of all things. Pardon the intrusion, Forlemont. I wish to speak with you regarding the recent... Oh, I didn't realize you had a guest. Inquisitor Guillaume, you honor us with your presence, sir. The gentleman was just leaving. Ah, you must be the one who rescued House Durander's knight from those heretics. Doubtless they feel indebted to you. I'm told you seek an airship last seen in Corthus 5 years ago, yes? You come to us at an inconvenient time, I fear. Much has changed in the intervening years, and little for the better. While I wish you the best of luck in your search, I would also strongly advise caution. The snows can come quickly in Corthus. One moment you may feel as though you have a firm grasp on your surroundings, safe and secure in your knowledge. And the next you may find yourself in a wholly unfamiliar situation, blind to the dangers hidden by the blizzard. It would be wise for you to focus on a single landmark while traveling. Do not give in to temptation and deviate from your course. I was not aware that you aided House Durandare in that fashion. Thank you, sir. Nevertheless, my decision stands. I cannot give you what you seek. Real. Before I leave, I'm going to poop in all your water barrels. Just a heads up. You can't stop me. Men of honor. Josiah is attempting to attract your attention. You there, sir. I could not help but overhear your conversation with the chief astrologian. There may be a way I can assist you, but it would require that you perform me a favor. An associate of mine has yet to return from his expedition to the cliffs east of the observatorium. He was adamant that he could conduct his observations alone, despite the presence of Ixal in that vicinity. If you would seek out this astrologian and confirm that he's well, it would be a great comfort to me. Yeah. Nobody will be helpful unless I do their chores. I help everybody, and nobody helps me. Boo-hoo, I'm so sad. What's up, Birdman? You're not gonna fuck with me, because you know what had happened. Mayhem, that's what. Hey guy, be cool. We'll get you out of here. Harvey Birdman, attorney at war, will not come for you. Oh, is that somebody doing a Dragoon quest? Good for them. What a relief to see someone other than the goddamn Birdman. I thought I could finish my work whilst the Ixal were away, but they returned far quicker than I anticipated. It was all I could do to hide and hope they might leave again before I froze to... Wait, who are you? You're not one of our knights. A man of House Durandare can't be seen in the company of an unbeliever. Good day, sir. Fuck you too, buddy. Oh, dang it. And I realize that this is my special flying black chocobo that I am making walk up the stairs, but you know what? You're not the boss of me. The arrogant fool returned not long before you arrived, muttering about the disgrace of having been rescued by an unbeliever. Serves him right for understanding the dangers our knights face every day. Listen, lady, my god is Relger, and he's your god's dad. So, all you Halone worshippers need to get in line and kiss my hairy white Highlander ass. But you're eager to locate your airship. It may surprise you that by saving him, you've already aided your own cause. House Durandare is quick to regard outsiders with suspicion, as it is their duty to sound the alarm at the first sign of Dravanian aggression. Yet you've already aided them twice, for which they are honor-bound to repay you. Even so, they will not grant you access to the Observatorium's records. That's just as well, for there are other ways you might locate your missing airship. What I propose is that you petition Lord Portelaine for an official introduction to the other high houses. The word of House Durandare carries tremendous weight in Ishgard. Should the captain consent, you would have little trouble obtaining the information from the other high houses. Thank you for the suggestion, friendly Catholic elf. But I can't stand to run your chores anymore. Oof. Okay, I guess I'm sturdier than I look. You've caused quite a stir in your short time here. First you slay 2 heretics and save a knight. Now I hear you've rescued a man of our house. I imagine you must desire something for your troubles. An introduction to the other high houses. Can't deny that you've given us no cause to distrust you. But when we have performed 2 acts, you would have me endorse you to 3 high houses. It's only fitting that you aid us one final time, wouldn't you agree? Listen, man, just give me your grocery list. 3 for 3. Lord Portelaine requires that you perform a 3rd task on behalf of House Durandare. Now, I understand you're very eager to find your missing airship. Worry not, for this task should take a man of your skills but a moment to complete. Not long ago, a porter bound for Skyfire Locks was ambushed on the road due west of here. Though he escaped with his life, he would very much like his wares as well. On the off chance any portion of his shipment remains, I would have you travel to the scene of the robbery and bring back what you find. Lest you intend to perform only a cursory search, bear in mind that recovering the stolen merchandise will endear you to House Helenar, further improving the chances that they indulge your request for aid. Alright then. My 9-tailed fox that only has 7 tails. Uh-oh, these wares got a purple circle. That usually means that I'm about to have an acid flashback and wake up surrounded by bodies. Blah! Tripping so hard. Oh shit, I hope those weren't kids. The Purple Chronic. That's what PCP stands for, is purple-colored particles. Have you good tidings to share? Or better yet, stolen merchandise to show? Here's your stuff. I promise I didn't want any of it. God bless you, friend. It's all here, every last... Wait. That chest over there looks like it might have been pillaged. Bloody hells, that's the personal property of Lord Francel, too. Are you certain? Clearly an attempt was made to open it, but the lock appears to have held. Nevertheless, if you wish to verify the contents against your shipping manifest, be my guest. Fury, take me. In the possession of Lord Francel. Yet, perhaps this is not so difficult to fathom. House Helenard is whispered to be infested with heretics. Thank you for bringing this matter to my attention, sir. I shall inform the Inquisitors immediately. Under these circumstances, I must strongly advise against associating with House Helenard. Your other introductions will need to be postponed as well. It's the duty of every Guardian to root out and destroy heretics. All else must wait until this matter is resolved. The Rose and the Unicorn. Sir Carolo has to tell you. Come closer, lad, and listen well. This is for your ears only. Lord Francel is no heretic. He's a goodly, righteous man, wholly dedicated to the cause. I know this because I served House Helenard for years prior to the calamity. You must go to Skyfire Locks and warn him of the coming storm. The Inquisitors are ruthless and will spare him no mercy. Speak to him of an Edelweiss, and he will know you for a friend. Now go. Sorry, not my problem. Enjoy your dragon attack. I've never noticed this little guy in this little hut before. What's your deal, guy? Oh, okay. He was part of a quest. Yes? You look as though you have something to say, do you? Is that an Edelweiss in your pocket, or are you happy to meet me? I see. Sir Carolo has not forgotten my mother's favorite flower. Pity has not been seen in Curthis since the calamity. You may speak freely here, friend. You're under investigation for heresy. That's absurd. I'd sooner die than become a thrall of the dragons. Alas, it matters little what I say at this point. Although the Draconian Rosary was not found in my possession, it will still be considered by many to be proof of my heresy. I must do my utmost to prove my innocence to the Inquisitors, for if they harbor even the slightest doubt... This will only add weight to the incessant accusations our house has suffered of late. It's as though the gods themselves are plotting our fall. You risked much by coming here. It's only proper that I recompense you for this deed. Tell me what you desire, and I shall do my best to provide. Oh yeah. Yeah, did you not realize it was the same guy? Yeah, he's a good kid. Also, if you ever go to Orchifont's grave, he's the dude who shows up there looking at it. A missing airship. I see. It may require a prolonged effort to locate your quarry. I shall direct you to one in a better position to assist you. Lord Orchifont of House Fortams commands the garrison at Camp Dragonhead. Present to him this letter of introduction, he will surely be receptive to your needs. Yeah, Franzel is one of those NPCs where, like, a lot of people blow smoke up your ass about, oh, you saved us, you are our savior, and we will thank you forever, and our gratitude will know no bounds, and blah, blah. But, like, when Franzel says it, it's like, oh, yeah, I straight up saved your life. I went to deal on your behalf, yeah. Oh, Camp Dragonhead. Okay, I need to... Is there a training dummy around here? I need to get rid of my aura of rage. Oh, dang it. That just put me in the... Wait, it let me apply my glamour fleet there? Since when has it allowed that? Actually, let's go back. Also, hey, stream, this is my house. It's very big. So yeah, let's see if it lets you apply glamour plates, since it apparently tried to apply one, because I think my armor wants to be Dark Knight armor right now. And that's why it's showing the underlying gear. Okay, so here's what we got to do. We got to switch to Paladin. We got to unlink the glamour plate. We got to change. Yep, it's trying to do plate 14. We got to change to plate 15, but while a Paladin, so that it doesn't overwrite my sweet axe. There we go. Well, neat. How long have we been allowed to change glamour plates out in the open? It's my dude, Orchifont. I had a little song about him. Let me see if I can remember the lyrics. Orchifont has got it going on. His hearth is warm and his shield arm is strong. Shit. The unmistakable swagger of a well-traveled adventurer. If you're come to pay your respects, be at ease, friend. I am not one to stand on formality. Truth be told, I would gladly welcome many and more brave souls like yourself. I mean, I'll bet you would. Hey. But enough chatter. Pray tell me why you've come. Well, you see, my giant axe is in the way of the camera, so I'm looking for an airship, and also a hot elf boyfriend. If there's any justice in the world, these charges will receive no serious consideration. Oh yeah, your friend's being accused of heresy too, yeah. It's beyond inconceivable. Ah yes, the letter made mention of a pressing matter for which you required assistance. What might that be? So this enterprise you speak of was last seen above Corthus before the calamity 5 years ago. I fear it may prove difficult to find any eyewitnesses to these events, for while Ishgard did not participate in the Battle of Cartano, we were embroiled in our own internal conflicts at the time. Also, the exploding moon and the mad dragon god probably were causing problems locally, I'm gonna guess. Nevertheless, I will make inquiries on your behalf and share with you my findings in the future. In the meantime, hospitality of Camp Dragonhead. I'll see that you are afforded every courtesy as a guest of House Fortam. This is why people like Archifon. It's like everybody else around here, and everybody else just in the main story quest for a while is like, oh, you want help? You want to save the world? Well, I need you to paint my fucking fence first. I need you to walk my dog for me. But you show up to meet Harshafont, and he's just immediately like, you're a hero? I fucking love heroes. Hang out. Tell me stories. Drink my liquor. Warm yourself by my fire. Warm yourself in my bed. Come on, baby. Let's be friends. Let's be more than friends. Like, you know what? I respect that. I respect the man who sees what he wants and goes for it. What Harshafont wants is to be the Warrior of Light's girlfriend. Anyway, the talk of Corthus. Lord Harshafont has a proposal for how you might participate in his investigation. As you've doubtless realized by now, the high houses of Ishgard, House Fortam's included, are either unable or unwilling to offer you formal assistance in your search. However, that does not mean that there are not influential individuals within each house who are sympathetic to your cause. I shall be sending missives to their various representatives in Ishgard, though I suspect it would be quicker and more efficient if you were to make inquiries of your own. Lady Nin of mine own House Fortam, who resides here in Camp Dragonhead, rather enjoys the company of travelers. Oh ho ho! There's also Kravelin of House Helinar, who can be found at Skyfire Locks, though any information you pry from the scribe may prove difficult to parse. Have you spoken with the chief astrologian of House Durandare yet? Really? Perhaps he'll be more accommodating once you inform him that you are a friend of House Fortam. Do not concern yourself with House Zemael. I shall contact them myself. Seek the counsel of the three I mentioned, and return to me when finished. Let's do the one north first. Oh, yeah. Because it's inside of Camp Dragonhead. That's why. Why, hello, good sir. What's that? An airship, you say? I hate to disappoint you, but I know nothing of what you seek. Likely no one in House Fortam does, for if they did, I would definitely know as well. The topic on everyone's lips these days is what will become of young Lord Franzel. Some say the allegations are long overdue, given how many members of House Helinar have been found guilty of heresy in recent days. Franzel's a bro. I don't appreciate you slandering him like that. Why is this wagon so blue? Are they all that blue? I guess so. Stairs? Why no? Vroom. I gather you've been busy since we last spoke. Lord Harshafon's missive was positively glowing. But if you think his endorsement is cause for me to disregard Ishgardian policies, then you're sorely mistaken. We are at war, sir, and the enemy grows bolder by the day. Why, in the short time since Inquisitor Guillaume arrived at Corthus, countless heretics have been discovered even amongst the elite of Ishgardian society. If Lord Harshafon wishes to waste his days chasing after a long-lost airship, that is his choice. But if he expects others to share in his folly, then he is truly blind to the present state of affairs. Alone grant me strength. There must be some way to... Oh, who are you? A friend of Lord Harshafon? I want to help, I truly do, but these accusations of heresy have thrown House Helenard into chaos. Right now we must focus on combating these charges and preserving our reputation. By your countenance, I take it you did not learn anything of use. Nor did I fear. It seems the whole of Corthus is consumed by this talk of heretics in the high houses. We can only hope that my sources in Ishgard Ishgard proper provide more pertinent information. Road to Redemption. Lord Archifond is concerned for Lord Francel's well-being. I had another personal request to make. It concerns Lord Francel, of whom much has been whispered in recent days. I've received a report that he and 3 knights were seen heading north towards the Steel Vigil. The outpost was long ago overrun by the Dravanian horde, so I am not certain what he intends to accomplish with such a small force. Whatever his motives, I fear for his safety. Pray journey to the Steel Vigil and see if Lord Francel's party requires assistance. By assistance, you mean murder everything that's living that's not an elf. Understood. Listen, warrior of light because I'm not good at killing. Francel! What's up, buddy? How you feeling? Who goes there? Siege? No, stay back. The fiend is still here. Oh, is it? Well. Oh, you hit me. Get up there, pal. I heard the beast's cries from over yonder. The Lord Francel is safe. Bless you, sir, bless you. Curse those fiends. It's as though they knew we were coming. Almost as if there's a traitor in your midst. Bum bum bum. Confound it all. How are we to redeem House Eleanor if we cannot even slay a single Avis? Ah, we're fortunate you came along when you did. Sir, House Eleanor will remember your kindness. It was a foolish thing to do, I know, but I'd hoped we might demonstrate our devotion by slaying a number of the Scalekin. Moreover, it was House Eleanor that yielded the Steel Vigil to the Horde many years ago. One might say that our defeat here heralded the slow decline of our house's once great name. We've been brought even lower by these despicable accusations of heresy, and despite my best efforts, I've done naught to improve the situation. The day of my trial approaches. Soon I must accept the judgment of the Inquisitors, whatever it may be. But even should my protestations fall on deaf ears, I will proclaim my innocence to my dying breath. Well, seemed like a good kid to me. What did you find at the Steel Vigil? I see. A reckless plan, but at least it didn't cost him and his knights their lives. I have news for you as well. A witness to the final flight of the Enterprise has been found. Alas, there is a complication. It has become common knowledge that you paid a visit to Lord Francel at Skyfire Locks not long ago. Upon learning of this, the witness became understandably reticent to make your acquaintance, for fear of being seen in the company of a man who might later be declared a heretic. Not understandable fear, given the zeal with which Inquisitor Guillaume has conducted his investigations. In any case, if we wish to obtain his testimony, we must first clear Lord Francel's name, and, by association, yours. Following the evidence, Lord suspects that someone is conspiring against Lord Francel. As I see it, the key to proving Lord Francel's innocence is discrediting the evidence against him. I speak of the draconian rosary found in the chest you yourself recovered. If you would, please tell me of the incident in question. So it was found in a locked chest, labeled as the property of Lord Francel. If the rosary was not his, then someone else with access must have planted it. Here's what you must do. Return to Skyfire Locks and speak with Rickman. He works closely with the porters who ferry goods across Kurthus, so he may have some inkling of who could be responsible. Kektar ho! Flight! Someone tampering with shipments. Fury strike me down if all them rosaries found in our people's possessions were planted. Hey now, don't you give me that look, lad. I'm a House Erlenert man through and through. This heresy nonsense is bad for me and my family, too. I ain't saying the porters what were bringing the shipments did it, though I know most of them that work at the trade routes, and I've never had cause to question their faith. But if it wasn't them neither, then your guess is as good as mine. After all, most every shipment is thoroughly inspected before it... Huh. Could it have been the fellows that were responsible for the inspections? Huh. Iscardian knights and inquisitors, the lot of them, as if they'd ever turn their cloaks. Huh. Reckon that means the porters are your most likely suspects. Hate to think of it, but maybe you should question them. There's a crew coming to Camp Dragonhead from White Brim Front today. You might consider having a word with them. Thanks, Rickman. Somebody running the same quest that I am. Beg your pardon, you suspect that we porters have been planting draconian rosaries in House Hylanard's shipment. What nerve! If you truly believe such nonsense, search our parcels and see what you find. Will do, chump. Draconian Rosary number 1. Draconian Rosary number 2. Are we finished? If so, I'd appreciate an apology. But that's impossible. Once the knights at White Brim Front concluded her inspection, I loaded the parcels into the wagon myself. And if I had been the culprit, I would have never allowed you to search my shipments. Say what you will to Lord Haurchefant, I will not be held accountable for this. I will say what I will to Lord Haurchefant, and that is, will you make out with me, Haurchefant? Let's forget about all our troubles. Make sweet love in the snow. Did something happen outside? I thought I heard shouting. Oh, but more importantly, what did Rickman have to say? More draconian rosaries. In every single parcel bound for Skyfire Locks. That beggars belief. Even the Inquisitors must acknowledge that this is no more than a crass attempt to sully House Helenar's reputation. Whoever is responsible has overplayed his hand. And praise Halone that he did. Lord Francel's trial is upon us, and we must act now if we are to clear his name. The trial is probably going to be the last thing I run today. In the eyes of gods and men, Lord Haurchefant needs your help to clear Lord Francel's name. From the very first, I knew it could not be that so many members of House Erlenhart were heretics. At last, we can give the lie to these poisonous allegations and put an end to this travesty. I'll need to prepare a formal statement regarding these developments for the Holy See. In the meantime, I would have you bear my words to Inquisitor Brigitte. Tell her that House Fortams asks, nay, demands, that Lord Francel's trial be postponed until a full investigation has been conducted. Where's she at? Is she up here? Ah! You need to stop the trial or else... Holy crap, over there! Miro! What is it, my child? Huh? Lord Haurchefant would have the Inquisitors do what? That's not possible. Inquisitor Guillaume presides over Lord Francel's trial at Witchdrop even as we speak. Fear not. If Lord Francel is indeed innocent, he shall walk in Helone's halls with the fallen heroes of Ishgard. That's real effective. Trial by death and let God sort it out. That's classy. You got a great society here. They've taken Lord Francel to Witchdrop. This is madness. The Inquisitor does not have sufficient grounds to subject him to that manner of trial. I will not stand idly by and allow an innocent man to die. Siege, I would dispatch you and one of my knights to Witchdrop to forestall the proceedings until such a time as I am able to join you and petition Inquisitor Guillaume in person. I will endeavor not to keep you waiting too long. Do whatever you must to keep Lord Francel alive. Whatever I must. I must kick some ass and chew some bubblegum. Oh shit, do you have some bubblegum I can borrow? Witchdrop! No! The purple mist! Hail, Siege! As you can see, Lord Francel yet lives. We must try to reason with the Inquisitor, but if his guards judge us a threat, we must also be prepared to defend ourselves. Let's do this! Let's Leroy Jenkins this shit. Joachim Charlemagne Francel de Herlinar, you stand accused of heresy against the Holy See of Ishgard. Is there aught you wish to say in your defense? Hear me, brothers, these charges are false. The men and women of my line have ever opposed the Dravanians, and I am no different. Since the very birth of our nation, we have gladly shed blood in service to the Holy See. Condemn me, and you will strike a blow for the enemies of Ishgard. It is for Helone to judge if you speak the truth. Prove your innocence in the eyes of gods and men. Leap from the cliff and entrust your fate to the Fury. The righteous shall take their place in Helone's halls, while the wicked shall reveal their dragon forms and be put to the sword. In the name of House Fortemps, I beseech you, stay your hand. Inquisitor, we are come on behalf of Lord Haurchefant. My lord has uncovered evidence which suggests that the charges against Lord Francel are without merit. We humbly request that these proceedings be suspended until such time as full re-examination of the facts has been conducted. Lord Haurchefant has allowed his personal relationship with the accused to cloud his judgment. That he should harbor private doubts I might have allowed, but that he would dare to interfere within the legal proceedings sanctioned by the Holy See, I cannot. To defy the will of an inquisitor is to commit heresy, a crime for which there is but one punishment. We must hold them until Lord Haurchefant arrives. Siege. And remember, no harm can come to the Inquisitor. That's a damn shame. I would very much like to flash his innards across the freshly fallen snow. Oh yeah, let me tank for you, buddy. Look, look! Lord Harshaphon has come! That's what she said. That's what I said. No, you pay attention to me. Excuse me, heretic. I am the protagonist. You fight me, I fight no one else. This will not be forgotten. What is to obtain the Draconian Rosary? It's not our intention to defy the will of the Archbishop. But this trial, like many others I fear, has been orchestrated by enemies of House Eilinar. They have used you and your fellows to sow discord, Inquisitor, to set brother against brother, that we may tear ourselves apart. The fevered imaginings of a desperate man. What proof have you of this? By the Fury, a Draconian Rosary. And the knight who refused to yield, and you know, by the way, if you were paying attention, a dragon showed up to back him up, but hey, let's talk about this necklace, I guess. It was he who summoned the wyvern. A heretic in the ranks of the Temple Knights. This has grave implications. Her claims would appear to have merit. Lord Harshaphon, I shall withdraw my charges against Lord Francel pending further investigation. I trust you have not lost sight of that which first brought you to Kurthus. Siege, pray locate your errant airship and use it. Lord Harshaphon, I have not the words to express my gratitude. But why would you risk your reputation to save mine? Because I know you, boy. You're too loyal to betray Ishgard and too devout to question your sentence. If we'd been any slower, you'd have jumped of your own free will. I would have done whatever it took to redeem House Helenar. Praise Helone, it did not come to that. But it profits us little to dwell on what might have been. Let us quit this place, Siege. Pray visit me at Camp Dragonhead once you've recuperated. Oh, that's the road to Natalan. I don't want to go that way. Don't need to barge into Ixal territory right now. There we go. You look well, Siege. I say what a pleasure it was to fight alongside such a fearless and skillful warrior. Were it not for you, Lord Frantel would surely have died defending the honor of his house, and I might well have perished at the hands of a heretic in his wyvern. As for Toms and House Highlandard shall never forget your service. Now let us return to the matter of your missing enterprise. We will return when I return. Possibly tomorrow or Tuesday. Probably tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for tuning in for part 6. Going to suspend and take a little walk outside to remind myself that sunlight exists. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. See you next time.